It is time for Giving Matters with your host, Joe Allen. I knew your name. I was just testing you. Giving Matters with your host, Joe Allen.
All right. I want to thank you very much for the first show of Giving Matters. I'd like to thank Steve Purcell on the other side. And I also want to give a thank you to Kerry Potter, who sat in this seat for quite a while and created this show in order to give everyone an opportunity to talk all about nonprofits and philanthropy and fundraising. And we're going to have a special guest to kick things off in a couple of minutes, Diana Hess, who is in charge of communications for Joanio, certainly one of the most prestigious and most important nonprofits that we have in the county. We want to talk about, for the duration of this show, we want to talk about why philanthropy is important and what it really means to a community like ours who is a relatively small county, but believe it or not, there are close to 700 nonprofits working in Rockland. And actually, that's one of the highest nonprofits to citizen ratio of any county in the United States. So we're under a lot of stress to make nonprofits come alive and function as they need to function. So what do we do about that? Well, if we take a look, we're in a pretty good place right now, or the country is in a pretty good place right now for fundraising. Fundraising is up about 4.2% across the country. It's about $315 billion, and whether you do it through your company or you do it through yourself, the important thing is to make sure the nonprofits or the charities in your communities are funded well and functioning well and are doing the things they need to do. I'm lucky enough to work for a company that has a very large nonprofit footprint. Active International is one of the largest donor companies in Rockland County, and we believe in essentially that if a nonprofit is important to any of our employees, then it's important to us as a company. So on any given year, we'll be working with about 150 different nonprofits. And in our 15 years of running that program, we've worked with about 600 nonprofits across the country, not just in Rockland County. But the question arises: we don't have enough. The nonprofits in Rockland are constantly doing the job of whether it's feeding people or clothing people or keeping them free from violence or providing education opportunities for those who wouldn't ordinarily have it. The role of the nonprofits is to supplement what the county or what government can't do. And it's not a very, very effective mix. All too often, the government can't do the job, and when it asks the citizens to do it, it's pretty rough on them. About 73% of all giving in the United States comes from individuals. And you might be tempted to think, well, wait a minute, doesn't much of it come from corporations? Well, yeah, it does, but the overwhelming majority is coming from private individuals. And most of the giving in the United States goes to faith-based organizations. And a lot of the donations to faith-based organizations are retained by those religious institutions that keep the money, and it's invested, and they use it as they see fit. But it pulls it away from a more of a general population donation. I have some experience for matters of clarity. I'm the board president of People to People, which is the largest food pantry in Rockland County, and we see it all the time. The need goes up. The ability to service that need doesn't go up at the same amount. So you've got to do more with less, and look for ways that are out of the box, and look for ways that are more effective than what you might have thought possible in years past. So for the coming months, Giving Matters, we'll have a number of different guests through that period of time, and we'll try to touch on nonprofit and charity and matters of giving and philanthropy from a number of different points. I'm very happy today on opening day, as I'm going to call it, opening day, to have one of Rockland's finest individuals as an in-studio guest, and that's Diana Hess, who runs the communications for Joanio. And this is a person whose heart has been known to me for decades. She's been a force in this county for a long time, and the county and Joanio is very fortunate to have her in a leadership position there. So, Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, but I do have to correct you immediately.
Okay.
So, I am blessed to work for Joanio, not just being in the position that I am, but for the people that work there who, as Joe Warner says, people who support people who support people. And that's what you and I both do.
Well, yes, and I want to thank you for the first sentence that comes out of any guest's mouth as a correction. I'll let that stand. But you've been doing this for a very long time. You've been involved in issues that affect the county for a very long time. From your vantage point, where do we stand right now as far as that goes?
I think, honestly, to not be a drama queen, if you will, I think we are on the precipice of transformation in a lot of ways. I think all of the sectors, public, private, nonprofit, education, are all in the midst of great change. Do you feel that way?
I do. I feel that way tremendously. I think that in some areas, there's big trouble ahead. There's huge trouble ahead. I'll take the food feeding sector that I know more about than other sectors. It would take $35 billion to feed everybody in the United States. It would take $15 million out of our budget in Rockland, and yet we're not going to get there. Instead of providing more of a safety net, we're removing more of the safety net, and we're requiring more and more of the nonprofits to float on their own. Find the money from other sources. Get the things you need from the private sector. Well, the private sector is just not there. You know, one of the things that is transforming, and there is a return back now to a lot of billionaires and other high cachet donors coming back. That they're not coming back enough to make up what the government will lack for all of us. So there is a transformation that is required now by creative people like you.
Well, thank you, and you too. I think, and just one woman's opinion, is that how you define a community is how you operate when you wake up in the morning. You know, if we think of Joanio as just Joanio, then we're not doing a very good job connecting Joanio people, families to the larger community. And our mission is to really build community together, and that starts at the line level with the first person that walks in our door. You know, we treat them as a member of the family. If a donor makes a donation of $5 or $5,000, or is anyone out there can do like 50 or no? I'm just saying that's for another time, right? That's
Right. Okay.
No. What we want to be able to do is treat everyone from line level to families to community, that everyone is in this together. And I think, you know, you run the risk of being politically correct a lot of times, where you're using words like collaborate, connect, collectivity, etc. You know, that rubs in the face of some people in terms of the way they operate. You know, a corporation is in it for the bottom line. But if you don't allow for not-for-profits to plan for growth, to incentivize quality, to share resources with other places and people and corporations in the community, you know, then who are you if you are not building community together? And Rockland, you know, you made two very good points. One was, you know, about the amount of money that is out there, and yet the lack of money that's available out there. Two diametrically opposed statements, but two statements that are absolutely connected.
Well, there's another statement that goes along with that, and that is, with 700 nonprofits in Rockland, the redundancy is out of control. There are more than 70 food pantries in Rockland. there are redundancies in every sector of the nonprofit community up here, and it's not just up here; it's all over the place as well. And it needs, what we do need to do is find out where that collaboration really can be, and start to eliminate those things that are duplicitous, that are stopping us in our tracks. Another big thing, and it's why, in part, that I wanted to have you today, is the real out-of-the-box thinking that's necessary to raise funds for nonprofits here. We're sitting in Provident Bank Park at the moment, and one of the largest activities in the nonprofit sector is what the Rockland Boulders have with their Charity Challenge. These are 13 nights that are dedicated to fundraising efforts for the nonprofits in our community, and it has become a very large program. Boulders have done a phenomenal job in putting that together, and Active has done a great job in sponsoring it and being the holding the seams together. But it's that kind of out-of-the-box thinking that's required. Now, you've got a program, you've got something going on right now. Maybe you can talk about that.
So I think you're talking about Hometown Heroes.
Why, yes.
Why, yes, you are. Well, Joe, no, seriously, it's just something that, because I was born and raised here, born at Good Sam. My mother was a teacher. My father's an architect. My sister's now an architect. We are homegrown. So I kept thinking about everyone talking about the same thing. You keep going to the same people for the same money. You keep writing the same grants for the same people. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people who were born and raised here, like me, like you. Not that you were born here. You're a Bronx guy, right?
No, Queens.
Queens Park. Oh, now I'm going to be in trouble.
It's 35 years, so soon I'll be a real resident.
You're still a rookie.
Yeah, still a rookie.
Oh, so what I just kept thinking about was, how we're doing what we do, and I think all of us in the nonprofit community, whether we're doing it or not, we're always trying to do things better. We're always trying to make things better for the people that we serve. We're always trying to think, hopefully we talk to our line staff and we say, Jill says this all the time, the people that are on the ground, that are at the line level, know better than we do where we sit. So here it is. I came up with this idea that we pitched to the board of directors, called Hometown Heroes. And basically what that is who do you know that came from Rockland County that may have succeeded wildly in other sectors that would be willing to come home and give back? So what we've done is we've created this group, co-chaired by Joe Lockhart, former press secretary to Bill Clinton, who was a Suffern Mountie, and Roberta Katz, whose family owned Deer Mountain Day Camp, and a bunch of people like Kyla Basso from Paramount Country Club. We've got some people, I can't say who, but we've got 2 new people coming on board. I don't quite want to say, but it's something that everyone can do in their organization, that if you have a passion for your community and you want to give back, it is a little bit of outside the box. It's bringing it outside of Rockland, because smallest geographic county, we go through this all the time. Who can we tap? Think about who is in your network. It's the same, Joe, you and I are very big Facebook fans, and what do we mostly do on Facebook? We promote each other's stuff. We promote people to people, or we say that the Nyack Community Center is holding an event, or we talk about the Rockland Business Association event, or we do things like that. I mean, there's everything to gain in sharing and collaboration in this community, because it makes everyone better.
In this community, there is only a certain amount of money, and the same people are being tapped all the time. And you go back to them over and over and over again. I work for a private company, and
the best private company.
Well, thank you.
We love Active. Active's a great partner with us,
and we do a tremendous amount. But it never ends. And when you donate to 100, the 101st says, "What about us?"
That's right.
And there's only a certain amount that you could go. So the idea of doing new things and coming up with new things is really critical. If you want to join this conversation, with Diane and I. The number is 362-0013, and we'd be happy to bring everybody into the discussion here. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is that corporate involvement. How do you see that?
I mean, we see corporations as total partners with us. I mean, we've had some very traditional partners, like in Sarah ShopRite, all the way down to dental offices and medical practices and people like that. We have a very engaged board of directors. They are tremendously supportive of what we do. Our foundation board is tremendously supportive. But the thing is that's really important is that there is, for lack of cliche, there is transparency in what you're doing. Like, if we said, Fairway's coming in, how do we work with Fairway? Does Fairway have a mission? Does Fairway have something that's aligned with what we do? AMC Theaters, for example, every Thursday they have a show that they have a show in 10 o'clock in the morning, I believe, in New York and here, for families of children with autism. That's aligned in what we do. So why wouldn't we share what their corporate mission is, because it's aligned with what we do? If there are partners out there, corporate partners, small business, we welcome everyone.
Let's bring in a caller. Are you there, caller?
Yes. Good morning, Joe, and good morning, Diane. I just wanted to say to Joe, thank you very much for bringing this to the community. And I just wanted to talk about volunteering in general.
Sure.
Volunteering is good for the giver and good for the receiver, as I've always said. That's always been a phrase that I have said, over the years.
I agree with you on that. I think it's equal. There's nothing better than walking out of a situation where you've just helped somebody do something, and you take that with you, and it empowers you throughout the entire day. So the more volunteerism that you can do, or the more volunteering that a person can do, the better it's going to be for that person and for who they're volunteering for. Absolutely.
And Joe, to get people connected in the community, there's a lot of different websites, such as volunteermatch.org, AARP.org, HansonMatch.org. These are good websites so people can get connected in the community in their location.
I'll give you one other little fact along the way in that regard. It takes about 225 people to do all the work that People to People does. 225. And 218 of them are volunteers. So whether it's Joanio or
That's
People to People,
Think about that.
or any organization, we can't do it without the good works of our volunteers. And the people who give of themselves to others are, in my book, are the people that stand the tallest.
As you said, that was phenomenal. How many volunteers are with People to People? That's absolutely phenomenal and incredible.
Mm-hmm. Diana?
And I think Joe would say, I wish we wouldn't have to have that many volunteers, because then the problem would be resolved. Would that be right? You wouldn't need as many.
Yes, I'm like you. We'd love not to be in business at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
If someone said the need was eliminated, and so long Joanio or so long
Right.
People to People, that would be just fine with us. We'd find something else to do.
Well, I really want to stay at Joanio, though, just so
Okay.
you know. I mean, I'm just saying.
But if the need wasn't there, you could stay there and we could play checkers. But it wouldn't have to do all that you need to do.
I also want to talk a little bit about the millennial situation. I am a mom with two daughters, 22 and 19, and if you recall, and you're a father and a grandfather, and the whole thing about Rockland County growing up, you remember how people said there's nothing to do here, right? And I don't mean it pejoratively. I just mean, you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So, volunteerism is really an important thing, and what we're seeing at Joanio, and I'm sure you're seeing it here, what's exciting to me is that we're seeing a generation of millennials that are willing to engage, and whether they engage in social media, Twitter, Facebook, although my kids are telling me, Mom, Facebook is going down, you got to get on Instagram. I mean, there's whole bunches of places. But we're excited because Joanio also has engaged a younger group of volunteers called the Joanio Ambassadors, headed up by Dustin Hausner and a great group of people in their 20s. And this Friday, can I plug something? So we have this Love Able campaign on donate.joanio.org that individuals can fundraise online, via Facebook, via email, for Joanio Foundation projects, etc. And on Friday, there's a Valentine's Day dance at Joanio with our consumers at our Fisher home. The Fisher home is one of the earliest what's called ICFs, intermediate care facilities in the state. Takes care of probably some of the more fragile, chronically, medically fragile folks that we have with special needs. And we're having a dance on Friday. Friday's Valentine's Day as a culmination of the Love Able campaign. And just to bring that full circle, you know, any organization, hospice is really good at it. Hospice has amazing youth community volunteering. And so we're starting that with the Joanio Ambassador. So that's why I just wanted to say that high school kids, college kids, et cetera, you know, please give us a call. We'd love for you to be an ambassador as well.
Well, you touched on a point that a lot of nonprofits are having, not just in Rockland County, but all over the country. And as the aging of the boards of directors, a lot of these folks who came onto boards have been there for quite a while, or have been involved for quite a while, and it's time for them to cycle off. Either they're becoming more senior or moving out of the area, or whatnot. And the need to bring on new and younger people is critical. There are quite a few younger people out there that have really shown up in this county, and
Leadership
really,
Rockland, 40 under 40.
Yes.
I mean, tremendous grassroots coming out of that.
And those are the folks that we're going to need to put in the on-deck circle here.
That's right.
Because it's a new energy, and it's an energy that brings a skill set that an aging generation does not have. You take a look, and you mentioned that you do a lot of social media, and I know you do, and I do too. But for a lot of people in our generation and older, that's a new learned skill that had to come along with our education and later in life. But your kids and my kids, and it's part of their hand.
Oh my goodness!
Their keyboard
So
literally is part of their hand, and they understand the technology, and they understand the role of that better than anybody else. So we need to bring more and more of those people in.
If you see, just to digress for a second, but when you see our cats in preschool, and when you see these kids utilizing iPads for behavioral strategies or any kind of adaptive communication skills, these kids get it. Whether you're a special needs kid or you know, disabled or non-disabled, they just get it. I don't know what it is, but it's a phenomenal thing, although I have to say that I just read an article in the New York Times Magazine saying it's really good to detox also. So there's a balance. But with boards of directors who are, I mean, we're doing some things, you know, Jill is doing some things at Board of Directors, bringing in PowerPoint, bringing in Skype meetings, different things like that. I mean, you have to engage in all the tools that are out there. I think it's critically important. And if you can learn from young people and not get so crazy that it's, you know, we have to stop thinking about turf. We have to stop thinking about that this is my place, this is your place. It's our place. And if we don't, you know, Ed Day said it the other day. You know, he said, we're all in this together, whether you voted for him or not, or voted for anyone or not. The issue is we have to fix a $145 million deficit together. And one more plug, if you don't mind, I know I'm going on a little bit, is, you know, last year our sector got cut in the developmental disability sector to the tune of $120 million. Now, we had some very strong advocacy from Senator Carlucci, Assemblyman Zabrowski, and Assemblywoman Jaffe, and Assemblyman Skoufis, and they were tremendous, you know, at our rally in the Valley. But, you know, why should we keep fighting for money when we're trying to build a more efficient, better service, highly transformative, integrated lifespan services place? Why wouldn't you reward excellence, government? Why wouldn't you say, you know, hey, you know, we're going to look at this 2014 budget and we're going to say, you know what, we've cut enough. You know, we're going up to Albany this year in a couple of weeks, and that's what we're saying. So, I mean, not just Joanio, but I mean, if there's any not-for-profits out there, you know, that say, you know, what is happening on the federal, state, and local landscape, we should be talking to each other and saying, what are the common threads that bring us all together that we can all go to Albany with and say, you know, here we are in this community, we're all facing this, but you can't keep cutting us and expect us to have the same level of quality, the same level of staffing, the same level of, you know, if a building falls down and you're not giving me money for capital improvements, what am I supposed to do? Government, what am I supposed to do?
Well, there are a few things that we can do, and working together in collaboration is one of them. If you recall, there was a period of time where Joanio was thinking of starting a food pantry to feed its consumers and who weren't able to do so. And People to People said, "Well, wait a minute. We can do that for you, and we can provide food for you, and we can make sure that
and we can volunteer for you in our
right.
mental health recovery program."
That's right.
We
so
partner.
There's a synergy there.
That's right.
That has to take place. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
That's correct.
So let me remind people out there, if you want to join the conversation, it's 362-0013. I'm here with Diana Hess, and it's fun to be a rookie on Giving Matters. I'm trying to fill some big shoes, and I'm looking forward to a great run here. And if you want to call, give us a call, and we'll talk about it.
Please hold.
We have a caller right now. Okay, caller.
Good morning, Joe, Diane. Great show.
Thank you.
Actually wanted to pitch a similar concept to WRCR about a month and a half ago, and I'm glad you beat me to it, Joe.
Well,
this is Lenny, by the way.
hi, Lenny.
Just want to, you guys touched on a lot of things, and, the corporate sector is so important. Everybody is competing, as you so aptly said, for the same dollars, and it gets hard when people want to contribute and they feel like, God, I've already done this and I've done this, I can't do any more. It's a tough feeling. So one of the things that I see happening that Joanio does a lot of, and I'm going to put a pitch in for one that we're working on right now. So said how Rocklanders, there often isn't a lot to do in Rockland. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. The Rockland Boulders, for instance, offer a tremendous entertainment opportunity for families, and they've done so much good for the nonprofit community. But that's the other thing Rocklanders can become more aware of. It doesn't have to be just the corporate sector, but Diane, you do things at the movie theaters and other events, but where the public can participate. And it becomes a win-win-win. The corporate person, the supplier of the event, is going to not lose money. The charity makes money, and the public participates and gains some entertainment value. And am I allowed to put a pitch in for an organization?
Go right ahead.
Upcoming in March, Meals on Wheels will have an event at Levity Live. And,
Right.
This is something, people often don't get out and do, but now just take an evening, go out, bring the family, enjoy yourself, and at the same time, you're helping an organization. When Joanio hosts an event at the movie theaters or other events, take part. And this should be more, we need to get more of the public involved, in a setup or in addition to donations, outright donations.
Well, Lenny, you make
organization goes for.
You make
something out of this.
You make a great point there, Lenny, and it goes back to the fact that more than 70% of all money that is donated to nonprofits comes from individuals. So we spend a lot of time trying to court companies to be involved, when in fact we need to court people more, and the way to do that is give them something to do. Exactly. And it goes back into that out-of-the-box thinking that we were talking about before, that the Boulders have, that Joanio has, that a number of organizations have. So,
And Active Cares with my friend Joe Allen, whose concept is Active Cares. You have made an extraordinary impact on the lives of people in not-for-profits. I have to say that. I'm sorry. I don't have to suck up to you because I've known you a long time. But Active Cares has been an incredible resource for us in the nonprofit sector.
Well, the thinking was we have about 350 employees in our New York office, and that's all. It's in Rockland County. And with about 4 people in a family, we're talking about maybe 1,400 or 1,500 people. So what are the activities, what are the charities, what are the nonprofits that are important to our employees and their families? And it's our goal to make activists out of everybody who works at Active.
That's
we
great.
want people to be involved in the community. Do we have another call? We have another call. Caller.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to bring my support to the cause again. And this is Vladimir. I just wanted to bring my support to the cause, to Joanne, and to people, and all the non-profit organizations as well. And one of the idea I wanted to push is that we can also raise money for non-profit organizations and give donations to non-profit organizations when we have our own events. For instance, if my foundation has an event, we can put a certain percentage on our revenues or profits and get donated to foundations such as Joanne Foundation,
Right.
other foundations, and people to people as well to support, because that's another source of funding. We are setting up a sustainability summit for the summer. One of the things is we actually talking in the committee is to put 10% of anything that we charge for nonprofits in Rockland County.
Well, for two nonprofit people in this studio, I'm going to say, why stop at 10? Go to 15.
Okay, to 15. Okay, no, we can easily. I will bring that up. We can easily go to any amount and support. And we actually focusing on scholarships as well. Scholarships that has to put different categories of kids. So we can do that, but sometimes the events themselves cost a lot, and sometimes it just the cost benefits on for instance, the places that we go have the events. Sometimes they charge us too much, and that's the other part of it. When you spend a lot of money, and sometimes you don't even raise the amount that you want to raise to have the next event next year. So those are the challenges. That's why we actually sometimes put the low amount.
All right.
The more we make, better it is that we can actually.
We're going to talk. We're going to talk to one more caller. I'm seeing time moving quickly. Thank you for the call, and I know we'll be talking again during the course of the run.
We'll talk with Joanne and also people to people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vladimir.
Let's get another caller in here. We got one more to go. Caller.
Hi. This is Barbara from the Penguin Plunge.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you? I want to thank Active and the Rockland Community Foundation for their support. When I hear them talking about charities, especially when charities are local and it's you're working so hard to raise money for like local families, I can't even begin to tell you how much it is appreciated, your generous support. So it makes such a difference. It in so many ways, because it really everything is volunteer, so everything can go back to the children. So it's just so appreciated. I just needed to tell you that.
Thank you so much for that. It's well appreciated. We're strong believers in keeping money as much as we can inside this county.
Can I mention the Rockland Community Foundation too, because that was a game changer for us here.
And it's for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Is that is just so amazing, because it gives you emotional support to go on and keep plugging along, and it just is such a significant contribution to really, it was just so awesome.
The whole idea of a community foundation allows nonprofits and allows people to set up funds to be involved as much as they want to. So the RCF is tremendous.
And I have to plug a little bit, Joe. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug. So on May 1st, Joanio has our 7th annual Kids Express event for our early childhood education services, and the honorees this year are Peg and Tom Donahue, who are parents of Liam, who was in our early intervention preschool. Grandparents are Patrick and Ann Byrne. And Patrick, as you know, is one of the leaders and formers, if you will, with Dennis Fleming of the Rockland Community Foundation, and Ann Byrne, who she and I were Leadership Rockland alumna together in 1994. Did I really say that, 94? I did say that.
You said 94.
I did say 94.
You did.
Ann is the president of the National School Boards Association now. So you want to talk about a hometown hero? Here's Ann Byrne, who was on the Nanuet School Board, who is now the president of the National School Boards Association.
Hometown hero.
Shout out to Rockland, hometown hero.
We're going to take one more call. Caller, how you doing?
Yes, my name is Anna, and I'm known in Rockland as the Coupon Queen.
Oh, yes.
And I've donated all over the place, and it's just fun for me to do, and I enjoy helping people all the time. And I'm getting ready for another donation, I believe, to either St. Peter's Church or West Nyack Post Office for the troops. I'm trying to get things.
Good for you.
But the coupons are getting harder and harder, but I'm trying to still get the bargains.
You are very well known for the work you do with the troops.
I'm trying so hard.
Thank you so much for that.
But thank you. It's fun for me to do, and I'm meeting a lot of people from it in the stores and stuff. People are telling me to keep going because I have been asked to leave ShopRite. ShopRite has asked me to leave, and I don't feel that that's right to do because I keep going in and out for the bargains. And I would love to hear from Mr. Insara himself to tell me that I can't do this.
Well, you keep pushing, and as far as I'm concerned, that it gets to people who need the help is the most important thing.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for the call.
Thank you.
All right, folks, this is, we're concluding our first show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to listen. I want to thank Diana Hess for being on the Rookie Show, so we're not rookies anymore.
We're not.
I hope we've brought a little bit of light regarding nonprofits. I want to thank Active International for allowing this to go on, and I want to thank the people of Rockland who open their hearts and open their minds and support this community. It can't be done without us all participating together. So we'll see you next time on Giving Matters. We'll catch you later.
WRCR AM 1300 Radio Rockland, streaming live at WRCR.com. It is 23 degrees here in the county, and we are looking for a